Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inner Spark, the place where real stories light up your journey of growth. Today, I want to share with you a powerful story that reminds us how honesty is not just a value, but a force that shapes destiny. This is the story of Marvin, Hazel, and Jack, three friends whose lives are shaped by choices of honesty and deception. Their journey takes them through struggles, temptations, and turning points where truth becomes their greatest test. In the end, honesty not only saves them, but transforms their lives forever. Before we begin, if you believe in stories that spark courage and inspire the soul, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Inner Spark so we can keep bringing you more stories that matter. Marvin grew up in a small town outside Manchester, where life was simple yet demanding. His father was a carpenter, and his mother worked as a school librarian, instilling in him the love of books and values. Among all the lessons his parents taught him, honesty stood out the most, repeated like a prayer at the dinner table. Marvin carried this belief, though he often wondered if honesty truly worked in the real, competitive world. Life wasn't always fair, and he had seen others succeed by cutting corners. Still, he clung to truth, unsure whether it was strength or weakness. His best friends, Jack and Hazel, often tease him for being too good to survive. Yet, deep down, they admired him more than they let on, knowing Marvin's word could always be trusted. That trust would soon be tested in ways none of them expected. One summer evening, while walking back from college, Marvin found Jack waiting with restless energy. Jack had a reputation for being bold, someone who enjoyed shortcuts. He leaned closer and whispered about a business opportunity he had discovered. It wasn't legal, but Jack insisted it was harmless, involving altered documents for a part-time job scheme. Marvin froze. This was more serious than pranks they had done in school. He refused, shaking his head, while Jack rolled his eyes, calling him naive. Hazel, who joined them moments later, saw the tension but stayed quiet, unsure which side to lean toward. The air between the three thickened, their friendship stretching thin. For the first time, honesty threatened to separate them rather than unite. Days turned into weeks, and Jack pursued his plan without Marvin's blessing. He forged papers, tricked a local employer, and landed a high-paying internship. People applauded him for being smart, while Marvin struggled with his modest part-time shifts at the library. Hazel felt torn, caught between admiration for Jack's daring and respect for Marvin's integrity. Their conversations grew sharper, especially when Jack flaunted his earnings. Marvin felt left behind, but kept telling himself that shortcuts collapse eventually. Still, doubt gnawed at him every night. Was he losing out by clinging to honesty? That doubt became a shadow he couldn't shake, even as his parents' words echoed in his mind. The first major turn arrived when the employer discovered irregularities in Jack's paperwork. Rumors spread quickly across campus, and whispers followed Jack wherever he went. Marvin, though hurt by Jack's choices, stood quietly, never adding fuel to the gossip. Hazel confronted Jack, asking why he risked everything for quick success. His anger flared. He claimed honesty was a trap for the weak, and only risk-takers ever won. But deep in his voice, there was fear, a tremble that betrayed the weight of guilt pressing on him. Marvin watched, heart heavy, still unsure if his own path would lead him anywhere better. Weeks later, Jack was dismissed, and the shame weighed heavily. Yet surprisingly, the employer called Marvin in, not because of Jack, but because of the respect Marvin had silently earned. People trusted him, remembered his calm presence, and offered him the very internship Jack had lost. Marvin hesitated, unsure if it was pity or genuine trust. But the employer assured him, "I want someone whose word carries weight, not just clever tricks." That moment shifted something inside Marvin, proof that honesty could open doors even when it seemed like the slower path. Hazel smiled with pride, while Jack's silence cut the air with regret. As Marvin settled into his new role, he worked harder than ever, determined to justify the faith placed in him. Yet another challenge came when a senior colleague pressured him to bend the truth on reports. This time, the temptation was heavier. It wasn't a friend's prank, but a career-threatening choice. If he refused, he risked being sidelined, perhaps even losing his chance. Marvin wrestled with sleepless nights, torn between honesty and ambition. Memories of Jack's downfall played in his head, reminding him of the cost of dishonesty. At last, he stood firm, submitting an honest report even though it exposed mistakes others tried to bury. His honesty sparked outrage, but also silent admiration. Hazel called him brave, though she feared what would follow next. The storm came quickly. Colleagues distanced themselves, whispering that Marvin had ruined prospects by being too righteous. He felt alone, carrying the weight of disappointment on his shoulders. Yet the truth had a ripple effect. Weeks later, higher management discovered the accuracy of his report and called him in. Instead of punishment, Marvin received unexpected praise, along with a promotion. The very honesty that had made him an outcast became the reason for his rise. Marvin's story spread, inspiring quiet respect among peers who once doubted him. Jack, hearing this, felt a painful mix of admiration and envy. He realized that shortcuts may work for a moment, but truth carves a lasting path. Hazel's role deepened when she faced her own test of honesty. She was offered a job abroad, but discovered the offer was linked to manipulating details about her academic performance. For days, she kept it secret, battling her conscience. Seeing Marvin's courage gave her strength to decline the dishonest offer, even though it meant losing her dream. She cried that night, feeling as if honesty had cost her everything. Yet within weeks, she received another call, a genuine opportunity in a different city, this time earned with full integrity. She realized Marvin's path wasn't just his. It was a light guiding others, herself included. Jack's hardest moment came when his debts caught up with him. He had hidden loans, taken under false promises, and now creditors demanded repayment. With nowhere else to turn, he knocked on Marvin's door, shame dripping from every word. Marvin could have turned him away, but instead listened with quiet compassion. He offered no money at first, but something greater: advice, guidance, and a second chance through honest work. Jack resisted, pride clashing with humility, but eventually agreed. The first days were rough, the work humbling, yet slowly Jack began to rebuild. He realized honesty was not weakness, but a foundation strong enough to hold a broken life. Over time, the three friends grew closer again, though scars of the past lingered. They learned that honesty didn't always make life easier, but always made it meaningful. Marvin rose steadily in his career, known not just for skill, but for character. Hazel built her path with courage, carrying lessons she would pass on to others. And Jack, though still recovering, found a peace he had never known, grateful for the second chance Marvin had given him. Their friendship, once fractured, became stronger than ever, not by perfection, but by truth. In the end, they discovered something profound. Honesty is not about avoiding failure, but about building a life that can withstand it. It doesn't shield us from storms, but it makes us strong enough to face them. Every challenge, every test, became proof that truth carries a power far greater than lies. And so, their story is not just about three friends, but about the choice each of us faces every day: to live in shadows or to walk in light. The story of Marvin, Hazel, and Jack reminds us that honesty may be tested, ridiculed, or even punished at times, but in the end, it shines brighter than any shortcut. Their lives show us that truth doesn't just build trust with others, it builds strength within ourselves. So, let this story stay with you as a reminder. Honesty is not just the best policy, it is the foundation of a meaningful life. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Inner Spark, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today.